Okay, today I'm going to try something I haven't done before, which is take you step by step through my turmeric printing process. I'm going to have real-time video, not sped up like I usually do, and I'm going to kind of explain some of the things I'm thinking about as I'm going. So here is my my little setup. I have a fern leaf that I've cut to the right size for my paper. The paper is 9 by 12 and the frame is 11 by 14. So the frame isn't going to touch the paper, and the paper will get full sun the whole time we're going. I also have my alcohol, my turmeric, some paintbrushes, and I have a little bit of ink here somewhere from the last time I printed. I'm just going to do a test strip with it and see how well it develops, just to try to see how well the ink is really keeping. I know it's not supposed to keep well because it is photosensitive, but I'm interested. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is use up the last of the ink I already have made. So I'm going to make some more fresh of this, but I'm really just curious to see what's going to happen. I've never used ink this old and it looks pretty dark, so I think it might work. But I only have one frame. Okay, this is Flimbo. He's hovering. So I only have one frame, which means I only have one way to press something really nicely. And when stuff isn't so nicely put down, it's going to move. And I'm really okay with that because this is just an experiment. I want to see what happens. Also, I'm in the shade, but ideally you want to do this step in like the darkest room in your house. But if I go inside right now, you won't be able to see me. So anyway, I can work pretty fast and also just do a thin layer of it so it doesn't take a long time to dry. I find that that's helpful. I know you can't see this. I'm doing kind of like a circular shape, ovalish, and it does not have to be perfect by any means. Just get a good layer. And then, so my plan is that I'm going to put this down and secure it with a rock, which I have over there. And it will move around, but it'll mostly stay in the same place if I have something really secure like a rock to hold it. So I think the effect might be really cool. And now it's almost dry already. It happens really fast, but you don't want to put your leaf or plant material on the wet print, especially if you're putting it between glass, because the humidity just condenses on the glass, and then that's also gonna print onto, like, the photo ink is gonna see the water droplets and change how your print comes out. Maybe you want that to happen. I think it's kind of cool, but if you're going for an exact like photo replica, maybe you don't want that. Okay. So here's the rock. It's really hot. And here's the print, which is pretty much almost dry. So I'm gonna move it into the sun and place my plants right on it and hold it there with a rock. So you can see it's off the paper a little, so the ones that are further away will probably look blurrier. It's also really bright out today, and so that means they'll develop faster. And who knows, maybe this won't come out at all because the ink is old or expired. Okay, so here's all the ingredients I need to make this new ink. I have the turmeric powder, 70% isopropyl alcohol, a jar to put it in. Obviously, there's still a little left from the old batch, but that should be fine. And sometimes I use a coffee filter. Today I'm going to use just a funnel, and I don't have a paper filter, so I'm going to use a paper towel. And of course, my beautiful assistant. Thank you, Flimbo. Okay. So I already know he's gonna try to get in this. And this does stain. Obviously he's orange, but okay, good. He saw something. He's gonna go explore while we make this ink. That's about a tablespoon, I would say. And then I just take the alcohol and pour it right in there. And it filters through, just like brewing coffee. Also, if you use something from your kitchen, like this funnel, I'm gonna mark it as like not for food use anymore, because you can't really ever wash out fully this. I mean, it'll be stained when I take it out for sure. And you don't want to be ingesting even small traces of isopropyl alcohol in your food. Anyway, that's probably more than enough. I do have measurements on my website, but I honestly never measure. And it comes out different every time, but it always works, so that works fine for me. All right, it's just about done. Okay, I came back out to the front here, and as you can see, in the time it took to make the new ink, this ink is already starting to fade. That's just because the sun is so incredibly strong today. I did this same process just in a little further north in Washington, and they took 6 hours to fully develop. So how strong the sun is probably the biggest factor in how quickly you're gonna start to see results. But like if you do it in the winter, fair warning, you might be waiting 6 hours or more depending on where you live. Okay, so here's the new ink. It's a little more diluted than I usually make it. Maybe that's a good thing. Okay, I'll turn it so you guys can see the application process this time. And as you can see, I'm really not too precious about it. It's just, the faster the better, I have found, because you don't want to be drying, you don't want to be applying wet onto dry, because then it's like kind of a double layer, and you do want as even a layer as possible so everywhere comes out uniformly. Okay. And while that dries, I'm going to open up my frame. This frame is from the dollar store, or the $1.25 store now. And it's not even a glass pane. It's like plastic. Maybe it is glass. I kind of thought it was plastic though. Okay. Go Dollar Tree. It's glass, not plastic. I have done it with like kind of a plastic frame before, and it worked just fine. I do think the develop time is a little bit different, but not by much. So I'm gonna do this beautiful fern leaf. I was thinking about putting this guy with it. I just found him pressed in my notebook, but I think actually I'm gonna save this one for something else. This is not quite dry, and this one I want to be really dry because we are putting it in a enclosed space. So if there's any moisture, like I said, that's going to condense and change the print. Okay. That looks pretty good. There's no like obviously very shiny spots, so I'm happy with that. Then I'm gonna just place it. I don't really know which way I want it actually yet. Okay. I'm gonna do it this way, and also because it's a fern, I'm doing it with the spore side up, just so it doesn't release any more spores onto the ink. There's only a little bit left. They mostly fell off as I was drying it. Oh, okay, well, when you go to put it in, make sure you don't do what I just did and put the leaf side facing the glass. Definitely will not work the other way around. And then I like to just go like this, check that it's in a good spot. Maybe make an adjustment. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Cover it with the board and then just secure it down. And now I'm gonna put this one right next to the other one in the direct sun. This one's really, really pale now. It's looking great. All right, so now I'm gonna put the time lapse on this print and we can watch it develop together. Okay, quick break from the time lapse because this other print is definitely ready. If you can faintly see that the outline, the part where the plant was, looks kind of bright, and then the rest looks kind of dull. And there's just a little bit of contrast, but enough to see it, and I don't want it to go much longer than this. So I mixed up some water and borax, and now I'm gonna spray it to develop it. Here we go. Oh. This is not working all that great right now, this spray bottle. Wow, that's way better than I was expecting. So you can see how the plant blocks it from being bleached by the sun. Now back to the time lapse. Okay, so my phone overheated right as this print became ready, which means this won't be as high quality of a video, but I have to develop this print. It's time sensitive, but I'm hoping it comes out nice enough so you guys can see what's happening. Here it is. And you can see, this is like, I have found that when it looks like this, it's perfect because you want those, if you leave it out any longer than this like kind of faded and neon version, the sun starts to seep in and kind of compromises the structure that you're trying to print a picture of. Okay. So I'm just gonna go with the dumping method, pouring it right out onto the print because that worked best last time. Let's see. All right, here it is. Here's the water and borax that I used to develop the other one. Oh, and that's a little extra borax that was in the bottom. Oopsies. Well, that's not ideal, but oops. Okay, the phone is cooled off. Everything's back to normal. I rinsed off this piece that I accidentally dropped into wood chips. And it's looking really awesome. Let me turn the camera around. Yeah, it's brown, and I think that's because the ones that came out most yellow for me were with a really fresh turmeric, and I might try to buy like turmeric root to try this again with like really fresh stuff. But the main thing is the contrast, you know, the contrast between the background and the subject, which is this fern leaf, and the fact that you can see the whole thing. I mean, that's kind of the magic of it, is that it just captures it. And even, I mean, this isn't perfect. I didn't even get borax on all the places that needed it, and I probably should, just so that it's developed fully. And over here you can see some white splotchiness, and that's probably because this is here, and over here that's where I dropped the borax when I had extra in the bottom of here before. So, like I say, it's not perfect science. It's more just an experiment. This was super fun and way faster than it was the last time that I tried to record the whole thing. So let me know if this was helpful, and please let me know if you try it. Anyway, thanks for watching.